Hello, this is about breaking patterns with the ABC method, which is what's behind me today. I want to talk to you about something that has the power to completely transform your life, if you let it. It's called the ABC method, and it's about breaking the patterns that keep us from fundamentally getting stuck. Now, I'm not just speaking from theory here, right? I'm speaking from experience. For those who don't know me, I was an addict. My addiction and my choices cost me my wife, my business, my home, and for a while, even my children. But learning the ABC method helped me stop. It helped me become more aware of what I was doing. And more importantly, and this is really important, why I was doing it. So let me break that all down for you. So if you think about our life as a whole, we have to understand why we do certain things. So with that, you have to understand what the ABCs stand for. So the A stands for activating emotion or event. The B stands for behaviour. And the C stands for your consequence, or consequence, not your consequence, otherwise it'd be Y and a C. So let's start with an example that one could probably, or many of us can probably relate to. Say someone has a habit of drinking too much. They've got a problem with drink, right? It goes a little something like this, as normal, right? Activate an event or emotion. You feel stressed, you feel bored, you feel sad. You think, I need a drink. Maybe you're passing the pub, or you're in a supermarket or passing a supermarket. You're near an off licence, and that triggers that thought. And then what's your behaviour? You give in to the urge and you drink too much. Well, the fundamentals are, what we have to remember is the C's, the consequence, the morning after, where you don't get up for work. Maybe you've argued with your friends or your partner. You feel remorseful, you feel regretful, and you promise yourself, and we all do this, it definitely won't happen again. But it does. Does that sound familiar? Because the cycle repeats itself over and over again. And that's because of our subconscious loves the habits. It clings to the patterns even when those patterns hurt us. The key is to learn to stop at the A before the B and the C ever really happen. Now, how do you do that? Well, it's about breaking the cycle at A. And here's the game changer, right? If you can stop and think about the A, you can change, and this is a massive statement, genuinely you can change your entire world. Let's go back to the example, right? You feel stressed and the thought comes in, I need a drink. This is the A. Instead of automatically heading to the pub or the off licence or buying that bottle, what if you just paused for that second and thought to yourself, why do I feel like this? What do I really need right now? Because that's the key, right? What can I do instead? How can I break that habit? How can I break my subconscious? By recognising this, you can make a conscious choice before the B, the behaviour, starts. And when you change that behaviour, you change your consequence. No hangover, no missed work, no regret, and therefore, low patterns are broken. So if you can do that over and over again, it means that you start creating that habit. So I'm going to tell you a bit about my personal story. Because like I said at the beginning, it isn't just a theory. It's something I've genuinely lived. But back when I was in the gripes of my addiction, I wasn't aware of my A's, and that's the problem. I definitely wasn't aware of what I was doing. I just acted. I felt pain and I reached for pills. I felt lost. I drowned myself in something else. The consequences, well, they were devastating. I lost everything. My wife, my business, my home, and for a while, like I said, even my children. And I kept telling myself over and over again, before all that happened, this is the last time. I can't do this anymore. But it never was. Why? Because I was never aware of my A's. When I learned the ABC method, I started pausing at my A's. And instead of reaching for the quick fix, I started thinking to myself, what really is going on? Do I need to see someone? Why am I feeling like this? And how can I deal with this in a much more productive, healthier way? It wasn't easy. I promise you it wasn't easy. But over time, I broke that cycle and I started to rebuild my life. I started to look at my life in a different way. And I was applying the ABC method in everything I did. I started to try and work out what the best opportunity or the best thing I could do rather than act on my addiction. Because it isn't just for addiction. It works for any pattern or any cycle you want to break. Let's say someone struggles with anger. So they're activating emotion. You know, and we've all been through this. Somebody cuts you up at traffic and you feel that rage bubbling up. Well, what's your behaviour? You start yelling, you start shouting, maybe even speeding up to catch them. Well, what becomes the consequence? You're still angry hours later. You put yourself or maybe potentially others in danger. And maybe, you know, you've chased that car down and something major happens. However, if you pause at the A, you can stop yourself. Take a breath and remind yourself, is it really worth it? And you can choose that different B. So no yelling, no speeding, no lingering thoughts and no lingering anger that ruin your day. Because the fundamentals are, that's where sometimes you act on things and then you go, shit, I wish I hadn't done that. So here's the truth, right? The ABC method taught me how to stop and be more aware of what I was doing. It showed me that I have the habit and the power to break those habits, but they were destroying my life. So everybody has the power to do that. Your A moments are everywhere, every day. They're the moments that when you feel triggered, when you feel stressed, when you feel tempted. But instead of letting them control you, pause. Think about what you're doing. Think about, is it worth it? Because if you can stop your A, you can rewrite your B and change your C. Breaking patterns isn't easy, but it's worth it. Trust me, and this is genuinely the truth, it changed my life, and it can change yours too. Because the next time you find yourself at an A, take that moment, just that moment, and stop. Think. Because that one pause can literally change everything.